Hey there, Fletcher from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be telling you about my new Topoak 270 awning. I finally switched out from my OVS 180 that I've had for probably the last 4 or 5 years on 3 different vehicles to the 270 because now I have a truck and I need the coverage of the back. And I am loving this thing. I've used it a few times now in the last couple of trips that I've gone on, and it's excellent and has a ton of really cool features. So if you're looking for a really budget price, it's about 500 bucks. 270 awning with some nice features like lighting, built-in lighting, really fast deployment, fast teardown, tons of coverage, waterproofness, built-in poles, and more. Stay tuned to this video to learn everything about the Topoak 270.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys, so as I mentioned in the intro, today I'm going to be talking about my new Topoak 270 awning. This thing is amazing. I love it. And for only 500 bucks, it's actually cheaper than my old OVS 180 was 5 years ago when I bought it. 180s used to be about 700-800 bucks, and 270s were about 1,100-1,200 bucks, sometimes more. Nowadays, prices have come down on a lot of them. So like the OVS is about 500 bucks now, and I think their 270s like 700, which is pretty reasonable. Again, way better than what I paid for it back in the day. But again, this thing can be had for $500, which is a freaking steal for this thing. So I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna show you literally everything. I'm gonna show you how it opens up. I'm gonna bring you underneath. I'm gonna show you the lights, the poles, kind of the whole setup of it, what you get for the $500. And then in the end, I'll give you kind of my final thoughts on why I upgraded to this one. All right, so let's start by opening this thing up. Basically, just like most awnings, it attaches to the side of the vehicle, and I will later on in the video walk you through how I've attached mine, because that's a question I get on pretty much all my awnings is how do you attach it, especially with a rooftop tent to your bed rack. I will walk you through these mounts and kind of what I'm doing for that. But let's start with the awning itself. So like most of these, it has a nice heavy-duty waterproof cover on it to keep everything protected, and then a couple of zippers. So basically, I generally keep mine towards the back. That way then they're not, you know, clinking together in my ear if I have my windows down and stuff. And so basically they're back here at the back. You want to unzip one towards the back, unzip the other all the way up to the front. Then once you get that open, you're just going to kind of pull the cover back. So you pull the cover back, and then that is going to expose the actual awning itself. Now you're going to notice it does have these pull straps, which is really nice because it makes it easier to kind of pull out the arms of the awning. It is suspended up here with 3 little D-rings with Velcro straps. So you do need to undo those 3 D-rings first. You undo them. Now, you do want to watch when you undo these, the fabric's going to fall down. So if you don't want to scratch up the side of your vehicle, you just want to be aware of that and be kind of ready to catch it. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to kind of let the fabric come down on its own. And then basically with the Topoak, what you're going to do is you're going to pull the front arms out first and then the back arms out second. One thing that I really like about this awning compared to my OVS awning is that with the OVS, it came with these sort of like lashing strap style straps. I could never get the slack out of the awning and get it really tight. These come with these sort of ratcheting cam strap style carabiner. So you can attach this to a number of things, and then basically you pull this rope through and it cinches back down on it and it holds it tight. So it makes tightening and tensioning the awning really easy. And so then basically on one end, you've got a hook, which we're going to put through a loop in the awning itself. And then this carabiner is going to be on the other end, and you're going to pull this rope tight until you get it tensioned, and then you're done. So it's really fast, really easy to set up. So again, we're going to start with the front. Because of this pull strap makes it really easy, we're just going to pull it out to the front. And then I basically bring mine around to the side of my rooftop tent where I've got a spot on my bed rack here where I can attach it. And so I'm going to attach it, and then like I said, I'm going to pull this super tight with the rope until it's tensioned. Now we're going to do the exact same thing with the back. So those arms are in here. Again, you've got this pull strap that just makes it really easy. When I'm not using these, I kind of just take the 2 metal pieces here together. So the hook and the carabiner, I put them together, and then I wrap the string around it just so that it makes it really easy and quick to put up. And then I throw this in the included bag that it came with, just so it's really easy to get to next time. But that's just kind of my strategy. Hopefully that helps you if you're kind of wondering how do you wrap these things up and keep them in a usable state. That's how I do it. So then you're going to take this and you're going to pull it all the way around to the back. So then once you pull the slack out, you can see just how much coverage you have. This does have about 172 square feet of coverage. So it's actually one of the bigger 270 awnings that I've seen. And again, for the money, it's just such a steal, right? But so once you get it tensioned, you can see it's totally freestanding. You don't have to use legs. But one thing that I like about it is there are a lot of freestanding awnings that I don't know if it's a cost thing or what, but they just don't include legs. The legs are almost optional, or you have to buy a wall kit or something like that to then get the legs for it. These are already built in and they're just right up here. So all you have to do is basically undo a Velcro strap and then they just drop right down. You can extend them down to the ground, get them to the height that you need, and then you've got your legs. If you don't want to use them, you don't have to use them. It's freestanding on its own and it's optional to use the legs, but I like that they're built in there and they're ready to go when you need them, and you don't have to use them when you don't, but at least you have them, you know? All right, so let's start talking a little bit about what comes with the awning. So in addition to obviously the awning itself and the sort of 2 ratcheting cam strap style tensioning hooks to bring the awning up and get it to full tension so it is freestanding on its own and you don't have to use the legs, you also get this nice little bag. And in this bag, there's a ton of stuff. And actually, I've combined other stuff because I do have also an all-top shower tent up there. And so that thing comes with some stakes, and it comes with some electrical stuff because there's a light in it and other things. I've combined all those into the bag that came with this. Since it's all kind of related to, you know, attached auxiliary items, I just keep them all in this bag. But this is the bag that came with the Topoak awning, and it's good size. It's really nice that it's so big, but it's also thin. So I actually store mine down in my drawers right here beside these couple of crates. So I've got just a ton of other electrical stuff, fire starting stuff, microfiber towels, fans, you know, things like that. But I actually just keep it right down here. Now, in addition to that bag, you also get this pretty nice little stake hammer and puller. That's included with the Topoak as well. So that's just a nice value add. I keep that in there in case I ever need it to pull a nail out of a tree. Let's say if there are people that are, you know, less than desirable and they are putting nails in trees, you can use this to pull nails. I use it to pull the stakes out of the ground and stuff like that. But then in addition to the hammer, you get this bag. You do get this sort of multi-power cable. So basically what it is it has a USB-A end that you could plug into any sort of power bank. I usually use like a small portable type of power bank. And the cool thing is they built in a little pocket up here with zippers in it. So basically what I do is I will actually throw my little power bank up here and then plug my lights into that. And then it's just got a little spot to hold your power bank to run your lights. Now with those 4 cords, you basically go around to these 4 arms. So there's a plug here and there is a longer cable that reaches to this. And then there are 3 other ones that are shorter that go to this one right here, this one right here, and this one right here. And those power these 4 different LED strips. So basically your entire awning is lit underneath of there from one small power bank. It also draws really low power, so I've used it for multiple days on a small, you know, 10,000 milliamp hour battery bank that I've got in here, and it's never even taken it down below 75%. So very low power draw, really easy to use, which is nice. Now, just one sort of thing to mention is that they are white lights. So if you're in a spot where you're gonna have a lot of bugs and stuff, turning on the light could draw in some bugs. So you just wanna be aware of that. If it's fall or winter or something like that, the lights are fantastic because there's no bugs. But because they're not like red or anything like that, you are gonna have bugs coming trying to get at the lights. So just be aware of that. But again, having the lights, definitely better than not having the lights. And again, the fact that they're built into the arms is really, really handy and makes it really nice to be able to see. Another thing to point out is that the legs sort of do get in the way of the LED. It does not impact it though, really. It still puts out tons of light even with the legs up. But if you wanted full light, you may want to put the legs down just so that they're out of the way of the LED strips. But again, even with them up, I've typically run them with the legs up and it hasn't caused me any problems. It puts out plenty of light to be useful. Now, another feature to point out here is that you may notice this Velcro that runs pretty much all the way around the awning. So again, you definitely could get a wall kit for this. When you're using the wall kit though, I would definitely recommend probably using, because of the extra weight, using the legs just to support it. I would imagine that would put a good amount of stress on the arms just because of how big this awning is and how much weight that's gonna add. But again, just a really nice overall awning. It has a ton of features for such a budget price. So then in addition to, you know, your plugs, your electric plugs there, you do get, and I've never used these, but I carry them just in case, but they give you these really nice heavy duty stakes that make attaching your sort of guy lines to them really easy. And then again, with the hammer, you can hammer them in, you can pull them out really easily. So that makes them really easy to use if you need them. But again, I pretty much just run it freestanding and I've never had any issues with it. Then of course they do include a number of these guy lines, which again, you could just attach to the loops. So there are basically these loops on the awning where you would attach your guy lines. So you basically would run these through those loops up on the awning and then use the stakes to stake them down. So all those ropes are in there, all of the stakes are in there. I've got my electronics in there, my cord for all my lights, and then I even included stuff for another shower tent in there as well, just because this bag is so nice and large sized. So now as far as how I sort of suspend mine and tension it, currently I've been running it to this sort of little bar that I've got over here on the side, because then it can reach from the front all the way back to here, and it can also reach from the back all the way back to here. But you could do this a number of ways, right? If you wanted to just attach it to like a hook on your rooftop tent, you could do that. If you wanted to put like an eye hook or something like that on the side of your rooftop tent that's dedicated for attaching this, you could do that. There's a number of ways you could do it, and that's kind of the point, right? Is that it's super easy to use. So, but again, because of the design of this sort of cam strap style thing, you can pull this, and then you see that those teeth sort of lock down on it when you let go of it, and then that's what creates that tension. So it just makes it really easy to tension the awning and get it nice and tight so that it will be freestanding, and you don't have to worry about it, you know, sort of collapsing or hanging down or hitting your head on it when you go underneath of it. And I love that they did that touch on the straps. Very, very nice feature. Now, of course, to put the awning back, you basically just go in the reverse order. So what I do is I will fold in the back arms first, and then I will come around to the front and I will fold in the front arms second. And then of course you're just going to redo these 3 sort of Velcro buckles. Now you do need to sort of watch it, but they're very smart about the way they designed it, where the top part actually goes up above the awning material. So you just kind of have to reach your hand in there and grab the D-ring part and pull it out and then run your Velcro straps through. But it's really easy to put up, which I like. A couple other pieces of info is that it is about a 64-pound awning, so just something to be aware of. It is about 64 pounds. It's not on the light side. It is a little bit heavy. My OVS 180 was about 40 pounds, though, so to get this much extra coverage, definitely worth the extra weight for sure, but just want to point that out. It's about 64 pounds. As far as length goes, it is about 84 inches long, which actually is the exact same length that my 180 awning was. So they've made it really super compact for how much coverage you get. So again, 84 inches long, about 64 pounds. All right, so as promised, I'm going to show you the mounts for my awning. So, you know, one thing that gets tough about any sort of bed rack is, especially you want your awning to be up high, so it's not going to smack you in the head every time you walk under it. But you also typically on a bed rack like this, then you've got your rooftop tent mounted up here, right? And when that happens, then that takes up a lot of this real estate up here and also forces the awning out. So I've had a lot of people in the past ask me, like, how's your awning mounted? Did you mount it to the side of the tent? The problem with that becomes you've got a bolt head in the channel for your tent, and then you've got a bolt head that has to go into the back of the awning, which makes it pretty tough, right? You can't obviously have 2 bolt heads going in. You need some way to be able to attach and tighten down a nut. So the nice thing about this extrusion rack, and I love this rack, it's all aluminum, so there's no rust. It's lightweight, but they have these sort of 90-degree kickouts that then allow you via these triangular mounts to mount your awning. So again, I'm using the stock hardware here. These bolts come through a hole in the back of the triangle, and then these bolt to this support arm. And there's a couple bolts that hold that in there. And then basically there's a couple on this side, and then there's a couple on the other side. So there's 2 posts that stick up. I've got 2 bolts coming off the back of the awning on this end. And then I've got the same thing down here on this end, where basically there's these 2 triangular sort of mounts that allow me to mount the awning to the struts, to these supports that are part of the extrusion rack. So that is one of my favorite things about this rack, is that it just makes mounting an awning super nice and easy. It keeps it, you know, kicked out and super strong. It's extremely sturdy. I mean, like, it doesn't move at all. The fact that it kicks it out beside your rooftop tent and is still super sturdy and super strong is really, really nice. Plus, I don't have to figure out how to mount it to my rooftop tent or find another way to mount it. So I didn't even have to use the mounting brackets that came with it. I just used these proprietary extrusion mounts and then a couple of the bolts on each side, and that was pretty much it. All right, guys, so as you see, that is the Topoak 270 awning. This thing is amazing, and I'm really loving it. I'm loving the coverage. I'm loving the fact that now I can cook off the back of my tailgate on the truck. Everything's covered. It's got a ton of volume of space that it's going to cover for you. So you could, you know, put a table on the side of your vehicle. You can cook off the back of your truck. It's going to cover everything. And again, the quality for the money is really, really impressive. So hopefully that's helpful for you. I will put a link in the description to this. I'll put it to my rooftop tent, just anything that I talked about in this video to make it as easy as possible to find. So check out those links down there. Also in the description down below will be links to all my social channels. So wherever you want to come hang out, I'd love to have you. There's also a link to my website where I've got funny overlanding camping themed patches and stickers. So if you're into that kind of stuff, check that out. Things like Don't Burn Your Wiener and It's a Hot Dog, or I Hate People So I Camp, funny stuff like that. So check that out in the description down below as well. There's also a join button right below this video that you can click. It's kind of a passive way to support the channel. It's about $7 a month, so no pressure. But if you want to just sort of say thanks and support the channel and get some early access and some other perks, that's a good way to do it. If you want a more active way to be involved with all things overlanding, there is a link to my Patreon group. We have a 24/7 Discord where we all kind of chat about our rigs and gear. We do a once a month Zoom call, and we're doing 1 or 2 trips a year too. So if you want to be be involved, check that out. And then last but not least, there is a link to the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group that I run. Over 18,500 people in that group right now, and it's growing every day. So, we'd love to have you in there. Different from the big groups, no bullying or anything like that. If you're newer and you want to ask questions, or you're just tired of the bullying and you want a new group that's not as negative, that may be a good place to check out. But again, thanks for watching. Hope that was helpful, and we'll see you next time.